Hey everyone, Pastor George here with our Mailbag Thursday question. And this is a question I got through Facebook. And the question is, and it has to do with race, it was what color was Adam and Eve? And I think just to sideline this for a second, I think that these questions can be interesting, but they're also very modern. And what I mean by that is when it comes to race in the Bible, it has helpful things to say for us today when it comes to basically destroying the concept of race. I think because when we take race and apply it to the Bible, or we care about the color of people's skin, we kind of actually lose a lot of like what the Bible is trying to say about these things. Um, and that's not that this is a bad question. It's okay to wonder and to ponder and to do all these other sorts of things. So I'm not in any way saying a person who would ask this is wrong or something like that. But I think it's always important to say when it comes to talking about race in the Bible that like race is a foreign concept to it. There are ethnicities, absolutely, right? We know of Jews, we know of Greeks, we know of Romans, we know of Ethiopians, we know of the Hittites, we know of the Babylonians, we know of the Ninevites, right? All of these people, the Assyrians, the Persians, right? Uh, uh, Philistines, okay, all Egyptians, all sorts of different people groups are mentioned in the Bible, right? But this idea of race or this focusing on skin color isn't really a preoccupation for the people of the Bible, because to them it just was more of a thing that people were. There wasn't this idea that you're this race or you're that race or whatever. It's really like, what is your tribe, or what is your ethnicity, what is your nation, right? Um, and so I just wanted to say that because uh, as we go into it, I think that this can be a helpful thing to think about, but it's not it's more of just kind of, in some cases, like in this, it's just speculation, and in other cases, it can end up leading to some pretty dark paths, which it has in the past, right? People associating, for instance, people from Africa with the curse of Ham, right, which is not in the Bible. But so it's just really important to be careful when we talk about these things. So when it comes to talking about the looks of people in the Bible, really we just use archaeological evidence for this, right? So we can basically, and you can look at the region now, and you can get a pretty good estimation of what people probably looked like in the past, because unless there's been some massive genetic shift, which doesn't seem likely, of the general features of people, right? So Adam and Eve in the Bible, the Garden of Eden they're said to be created in God's image, right? And it's in Mesopotamia, right, between the two rivers. So here, like, assuming that this is a historical thing that happened, right? We could assume that these are people that would look like people from that day today, which would be Iraq, right? So kind of with Middle Eastern features, like Near Eastern features, if you want to use that language instead. So olive skin or tan, right? With dark eyes and dark hair. Although that isn't actually incredibly consistent, because just like everything else, this is really it isn't as simple as just saying everyone from this place looks this certain way, right? And so but that seems to be the case. That seems to, we would assume that that's also kind of the features that Jesus had given his time and location. Just like we could assume that Pontius Pilate or the Greeks looked more like of a European look, right? Mediterranean look. Same thing with the Jews, and so it's we can get an idea, but I don't think it can be super helpful all the time thinking about this outside of just kind of reminding ourselves of that. When it comes to how this impacts us, I think the important thing is to remember, at least with Adam and Eve, right, is that if they are the progenitors of the entire human race, that means that we all are from the same common ancestor, and that's actually what God is trying to say through Genesis, right? Is that all of humanity is made in the image of God, because all are descendants from Adam and Eve. And so it doesn't matter what your race is or what you look like, because you have God's image implanted on you. And this helps us to thwart and to guard against racialist thinking, where we want to say, oh, that you have a certain worth because you have this color of skin, right? And that's exactly the opposite of what Christianity teaches. It teaches us that all are equal in the sight of God because all are created in his image, and therefore all people should be honored and protected, right? This is a concept in Christianity by the Latin term imago Dei, the image of God. And so it's really important to think about that because that's why we love our neighbors as well, right? Because we love people who are image bearers of God. And so it's just important for that reason. But if you want to think about biblical characters and you're trying to picture them in your mind, or you want to do an artistic piece that prizes realisticness, then you could probably just go with a kind of Near Eastern genetic makeup to them, and that would probably be close to what they look like. But we won't know, and I don't think it's particularly worth getting all flustered about. But hey, that's just me. All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. I will see you on Sunday for church and next week for more Theologs and Mailbags. Peace out.